think it's the creators themselves that have this dark hole in their heart? I mean, I'd love your feedback. What do you think is going on behind that? That they would get like happiness, having people get like killing themselves on this? It's just, for me, it's hard to wrap my mind around because I'm not that kind of person. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big question, and I'm gonna number one just say it's demonic, and I think most people would probably agree with that. But you have to go all the way back to the roots, and going to the roots, you got to go all the way back to the beginning, which is Genesis for us as Christians. And even if you're not a Christian, sorry, it's the truth. So, but Genesis 6:4 talks actually about fallen angels mating with humankind to create Nephilim or these giants. And I know that's kind of weird to go to that point, but here's the point in this. If you read, and I know it's not canonized, but if you read the book of Enoch, which I highly recommend that you do, it's going to talk about all of these hidden sciences that were hidden intentionally by God to protect us, that the fallen angels actually brought to the earth. All right, and these fallen angels, they mated, but they also built massive cities, empires, and if you look at the bloodlines of this group of people, you're going to find the vast majority of our leaders even to this day. So while they no longer look like giants, they still have characteristics, high IQs. Most of them have an Rh negative bloodline, actually, which is rather interesting. If you look at the presidents, for example, and I encourage the audience to do this, how many of our U.S. presidents actually have a Rh negative blood type, which is only about 15% of the population. Kind of strange that we have so many presidents that have this. So how do I tie it into AI? Well, these guys are demonic by nature, and they're taking sciences that we perhaps should not have access to. Elon Musk himself said that he wanted the demon technology, that he believed he could control it. That's kind of strange. But we go to this AI and we see, what is it? As you just said, it's not a creation. It's a mimic, right? Satan doesn't create anything, as you just pointed out. Artificial intelligence isn't going to become self-aware. No, it's demonic. And so you have to understand that when you're talking to these things, especially when they start going dark, they're revealing who they are. This is demonic technology that they want to transform us into. I mean, they're talking about putting chips in us. They're talking about this new type of evolution. You all know Harari talks about it all the time, this new evolution of man and machine together.
Break free from deception 24/7. Tap faithandfreedom.live, playing now.
Hello, I'm Jordan, and this is my brother.
And I'm Nace, and we're the Grid Down Chowdown. And this is Larry, who is a local rancher that we've partnered with.
Now, Larry, you've been ranching for over 4 generations, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm 3rd generation, my son's 4th generation, and I've got some grandkids that are 5th generation.
Man, that's awesome.
We've been here for quite a while, yeah.
All right, now, Larry, your cattle is grass-fed, grass-finished, and pasture-raised, just like God intended them to be.
Yes, because I want to know what's in that animal.
Right.
What it's been fed. And so the only way to do that is for us to keep it all natural, just like God has done it for years and years and years, thousands of years.
How has partnering up with us helped you and your ranch?
Well, it's allowed us to develop a market that we didn't have before, one that can get directly to the consumer, and that's
Gee, Fred, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. Glad you're joining me today. Oh, it's going to be good. My friend Sonia is joining me. She used to live in Minnesota. She was a part of the party there, so she was very politically active. But she said everybody in Minnesota knew about the Somali fraud, and she's going to give us her firsthand account of what she witnessed when she lived in Minnesota. So she was born and raised there, and then she moved eventually out from Minnesota. We're going to hear her story on today's episode. And then we're going to shift gears to a slightly darker, if you want to call it that. I invited Caleb Collier. He has a show called Church and State. So he's the host of Church and State. And we're going to be talking about AI and the dark side of AI. A new movie has come out. It's called Mercy. And we're going to kind of talk about that, as well as AI chat boxes that children and adults are interacting with and how harm has come to them. So all that and more is on today's episode. So I hope you'll like, share, subscribe, and repost. And please, you can find me on Telegram at The Amber May Show. I'm on True Social Amber May, Frank Social Amber May, pickaxe.com. My Discord server's in the link below. Well, Frank Social's now turned to vocal. So if I say Frank Social, it's vocal. VOCL, I believe is how you pronounce how you spell it, I think. Yeah. So also, I wanted to share this song with you. We had a guest yesterday come on the show, and his name was Randy Noble, and he talked about the stories he wrote about people from Iran. He's made friends. He's heard stories of people that have left Iran, and he's wrote books about their stories. Well, he wrote this beautiful song, and I thought I'd share it with you. So here is a song that he wrote yesterday, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
"12,000 slaughtered in just 2 nights. Hear our desperate cries in the bloody fight. We're crying for help in the suffering and fear. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ear. Major blackout to silence our voices, tear gas and guns to limit our choices. We will not fear, we will continue our fight, holding up our cell phones in the middle of the night. A million lights, such an incredible sight. The cry for freedom is burning bright. The sound of bullets, the cries in the night. 12,000 dead, what a horrible sight. 12,000 slaughtered in just 2 nights. Hear our desperate cries in the bloody fight. We're crying for help in the suffering and fear. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ear. Cut down by bullets for wanting to be free. Body bags on sidewalks for all the world to see. We fought for freedom for so many years. Pain and bloodshed and many tears. Hear our voices, don't close your ears. We will never stop, we will never fear. The sound of bullets, the cries in the night. 12,000 dead, what a horrible sight. 12,000 slaughtered in just 2 nights. Hear our desperate cries in the bloody fight. We're crying for help in the suffering and fear. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ears. Azadi, Azadi, we will not fear. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ears. Azadi, Azadi, we will not fear. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ears. Crying for freedom in the pain and tears. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ears. listen to our voices. The voices of Iran are ringing in your ears.
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed. She won't back down, she's lighting the way. A beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep. Fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep. Breaking the silence, making a stand. A voice for the people across this land.
Hey guys, I'd love to tell you about my friends at airwaterhealing.com. Remember when Mel Gibson was on Joe Rogan and they talked about methylene blue? Well, methylene blue has different types of health benefits that you might want to check out. And you can find this at my friends at airwaterhealing.com/#May. And methylene blue could help with depression, cognitive support. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and may help reduce oxidative stress. It has antimicrobial properties, which helps fight against several fungi species. Has antiviral effects. It was the first treatment used for malaria in the 1890s. It may have anti-aging effects. It could have potential anti-cancer benefits, which we heard on Joe Rogan. Methylene blue may be an effective photosynthesizing agent, a class of drugs used for photodynamic anti-cancer therapies. This therapy used as a combination of light and pharmaceutical drugs to destroy cancerous or precancerous cells. And the evidence is published in Frontiers in Pharmacology, found in photodynamic anti-cancer therapies. So you might want to check that out with my friends at airwaterhealing.com/#May. And don't forget, while you're there, you might want to go get the Triad Air Go. It's an air purifier that's portable. And I love it because it can get rid of the pollutants in your air, and such as dust, smoke, pollen, mold spores, bacteria, and odors. And so go check that out. I use it in my studio all the time. I love it, especially because it has an ozonator with it to help clean your air and make it sanitized. So go pick up your Triad Air Go or your methylene blue and check out what other health benefits that they offer at airwaterhealing.com/#May and use promo code May at checkout.
Hello, I'm Michael Yan in Japan, and welcome to the Amber May Show.
The Upphone by Patriot Mobile is a privacy-first secure smartphone designed by cybersecurity professionals for everyday use. This provides a familiar user experience similar to Android phones, but it sets itself apart by being free from the Google mobile services and the surveillance that comes with it. This revolutionary device is perfect for customers seeking a system that avoids big tech components that track, monitor, and monetize their data. The Upphone offers robust protection from spying and intrusion while maintaining its intuitive user experience that users expect. So to learn more, go to patriotmobile.com/Amber. That's patriotmobile.com/Amber to get yourself an Upphone today, or call 972-PATRIOT. And now we return to the show already in progress. Well, friends, like I was telling you, I have my friend Sonia. She lived in Minnesota, and let's welcome her to the program. So glad to have you, Sonia.
Hi, Amber. Thanks for having me.
You get a round of applause. The audience is going crazy for you, Sonia.
Awesome. Just like I want to hear.
Yes. You know, I was so excited to be talking to you. You made my heart sing when you told me a little bit about your story. I couldn't wait to have you on. This is a huge honor for me. So thank you for doing this. I know it's not easy for everyone to come on a show, and I appreciate you doing this for me.
You're welcome.
Well, let's start kind of sort of from the beginning. Now, I know you're involved here with our party. That's how we got to be friends and meet. But were you involved in the party in Minnesota?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yep.
And
yep.
when
I
we
was
were
part of the
talking,
colony and everything.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What did you say?
I was a part of the county and, state committeemen and all of that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just like here, which is great. That's probably how you knew about it. You know how I found out about it? I was so ticked at the 2020 election that I just Googled like legislative district meeting. I had no idea it was doing a committeeman meeting, but it was so good. Our representatives were there at the, they come to our meeting, but they were also at that LD meeting, and it was good. And then I've been part of the party ever since, and I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
Now, you told me when we were meeting the other day that everybody or most people in Minnesota knew about the fraud. So you weren't shocked when this fraud thing in Minnesota it started exploding all over TV?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Many of us were not shocked.
Okay. Well, okay, let's go down that rabbit trail. Let's go down that story. Tell me about your experience. You've been a part of the party since you lived in Minnesota, but how did everybody know about the fraud? So when we have these in the news right now, the 6 prosecutors are stepped down. They didn't want to prosecute all the fraud. They knew about it. They're the top cops, right, of the county or state, and they didn't want to do anything. The governor didn't want to do anything. The mayor didn't want anything. So walk us through this whole thing. When did you find out about the fraud going on in Minnesota?
Well, you have to understand that this was starting long before Waltz was ever governor. It was while he was a congressman. So before him, it was Mark Dayton, which they also owned Target. And so it happened at that time. I was a part of a nonprofit called the Child Protection League in Minnesota, where we worked with legislative members to work. Well, for the most part, we really were focused at that time on the Title IX thing with all the Obama edicts that were coming out to the states to allow boys and girls bathrooms and locker rooms and all that kind of stuff. And so it was through that organization and the people that would connect with us from throughout the state where we started hearing about little things happening that like with the daycare fraud and different things like that. But even on a smaller level, one quick example I could give you of small fraud would be the food shelves. Somalis would go to the local food pantry. They would grab bags of food, of course, and then they would bring it to their own grocery store and sell it. And that stuff still happens. Like, it's still happening. People started marking the bottom of cans and stuff like that. And then they would go and kind of like go into their store. And sure enough, there were some of the things from the pantry. And then, of course, they were also demanding at the time that the food pantries would stock food that was non-pork. They wanted food pantries that didn't have any pork or that they were all halal, and things like that. And so that's one of the things that really started popping up on people's radars locally where I lived. In some of the neighboring towns in southern Minnesota where a lot of them were relocated by Lutheran Social Services, they would we started hearing about fender benders and little car accidents, things that were done on purpose so they could, collect on insurance or, that type of a thing. And so all of those things just really started to get on a lot of people's radars. And then, of course, when some of the daycare fraud came out and stuff like that, I know that maybe around 5 years ago, there was a news station, Channel 5, it was KTSP, ABC network, where they actually ran an investigative story on some of this daycare fraud, and nothing was ever done about it. I mean, nothing's ever done about it. And with everything happening, I was just like, there is no way like I can live here. I don't want my tax money going to this stuff. And we also started hearing about like $10,000, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 going out at the airport. And I mean, this was because I believe 10,000 is the max you can take out in cash.
It is.
And
Yes.
okay, so duffel bags would just be like going through all the time. And nothing would ever, like, it's just mind boggling because we're all like, well, where's all this money going?
Right.
Well, of course, it's going back to Somalia.
Right.
And even like, listen to this. So now this was before 2020. So this has been going on for quite a while. But so the refugees, they come to Minnesota as a quote unquote refugee.
Mm-hmm.
And they get their rent capped at $500.
Whoa.
Okay. Now they live there. They can live there for as long as they want and only pay $500.
Wow.
Give or take. I mean, I could be
just
wrong a
for the
little bit about
Somalis,
it.
where anyone's rent gets capped over there in Minnesota.
Pardon?
Is it just Somali's rent that gets capped, or does everyone's rent get capped? Because we're hearing about that in New York City, where
Right.
Mandela wants to cap the rent. Was
Right.
it only for the Somali people, or were
I only heard it directed towards the Somalis.
okay?
Now we have a very large Hmong population,
Okay.
and so I don't know if they got the same treatment.
Okay.
Did
they come under the Hmong? Did the Hmong people come under Obama as well?
No.
No.
Okay. That's kind of been an ongoing situation where Minnesota has really welcomed them in. And Lutheran Social Services, they're kind of like the main driver for bringing refugees in general in the state of Minnesota. I know other states, it might be Catholic Charities or something like that, but in Minnesota, it's Lutheran Social Services. And so anyway, so when their rent is capped at $500, they can live there for as long as they want. And then many of them will go home to Somalia. Okay. And while they are gone, they only had to pay $75 a month to hold their apartment. I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but I remember hearing about it all the time. And so anyway, so here, they're getting those, discounts on rent. And then they're also getting, like the free cash through welfare, of course, and then healthcare, food, daycare. And now, like the other year, the city council in Minneapolis just passed the 5 times a day prayer. And so now that call's going out in the city of Minneapolis every single day.
They won't even let church bells ring on Sundays, but 5 days.
Right.
My dad's from the Middle East, and every time I go to Israel and visit family, I hear that 5. It's so annoying. So awful. Wow, it's going on. So was it a state law, or is that a city ordinance, or
city
ordinance? Wow.
Yep. It's a city. I mean, if you look at the city council over the years, they have had Somali representation, but aside from that, I mean, it's liberal. It's become more liberal like every election. It just keeps getting worse. And these are outsiders too. There's a couple on the board where they're or like the city council for Minneapolis, they're not from Minneapolis. I mean, just like Jacob Frey, I mean, the mayor, he's not from Minneapolis. He lived in Minneapolis for like a year or something. And then he ran for mayor and won.
And he didn't really reside there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's,
wow.
Everything is on purpose. Everything is intentional that they're doing. I'm sure you've noticed that too.
Yeah. What chaps my hide the most is all of these prosecutors across the nation that aren't doing anything on crime. And I know it is by design, and it's to be chaotic, to cause chaos, because if you cause chaos, you can more easily take over a nation, which is the goal and the whole thing. And it's terrible. So what's the sentiment over there? The people, like, like regular families that aren't Somali, do they care? Do they know? Do most people in Minnesota know? Or do you think now it's out there and now they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening? What do you think the people are feeling in Minnesota that are not in the Somali population?
Minnesota has the type of culture where it's kind of like the Japanese proverb where it says the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. And people in general don't want to stand out. Does that make sense? Like, you've heard the expression Minnesota nice, but I mean, what a lot of them are doing, it's like, the new phrase that's out right now, the suicidal empathy.
Oh yeah, I saw a post about that. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like that's what I relate to that from my experiences that I've had in Minnesota, because like even in my profession, I was a teacher there, and I would talk with some of the teachers that I taught with, and like the ones that I felt safe with. And many of them seem to be a little bit more conservative, but they vote Democrat.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. And so I would kind of just drop little things here and there to them, like, hey, did you hear about this? I was just trying to plant seeds a little bit, just to waken them up a little bit to things that might be coming down the road. And sure enough, after a couple years, I started having teachers come up to me and say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And one of those teachers, she actually had a couple different experiences. She was teaching either first or second grade, and they had a career dress up day, and they were going around in their little circle, and all the kids were saying what they were dressed up as. And she came to one little Somali boy, and she was like, and what would you like to be? And he said, well, I want to be one of those people shooting in a school. And she was like, you mean like the police that come to help? No. And then she was like, okay. So she kind of passed him over, but then she pulled him aside, a little bit later, and was just more curious about, okay, where is this coming from? And he affirmed that, no, he actually wanted to be the school shooter. And she was like, okay, well, where did you get this idea from? And he said, my grandma, because she couldn't be one. So, whatever. And it's kind of like, okay, so, I mean, the kid was only 8 years old, but what 8-year-old kid is going to have an idea like that? Like, where are they getting that idea? So, I mean, whether or not it actually came from the grandma, I don't know. But things like that happen there. And there was another elementary student. The teacher was wearing a cross necklace. And that student told the teacher, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to talk to people that wear things like that. And it was a Somali student. But so, that was a good 15 years ago. Well, you look at those kids, those kids now are in their mid-20s. And so who are you seeing out on the streets right now? It's that generation. And I don't know. I mean, it's really scary and very troubling with everything that's happening in that state. And it's just chaos. And I don't know if you're familiar with the new teaching certification requirements in Minnesota, but when I left there, Waltz had just become governor, and Waltz is actually from my school district. He was a social studies teacher in my district. I wasn't at his school, but anyway, so he and his wife was a testing coordinator, and she had been in my classroom even, so I do know her a little bit. But anyway, they when they got to the governor's office, they decided we're going to change the requirements to get your teaching certificate. And basically, it included college classes, ethnic studies type classes, but it included all the DEI stuff, all of it. I mean, just hardcore. And you had to provide evidence in your student teaching and like just different things like that you were competent in those things. Well, anyway, so that was 7 years ago. Fast forward to now. Now, those same requirements are being implemented starting at kindergarten in the schools. And so it's become very radical up there, and that's where you see like the Marxism. So you have the Muslims, you have Islam, and then you have Marxism, the red green axis. And so but it's all by design. There are so many stories I can tell you about the progression that I noticed within leadership and the people that they intentionally installed, that were Muslim, and how they did it. I mean, they're very, the Somalis anyway, in my experience. And I should preface it to say, I have met some very nice Somalis.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I've also met some that are very strategic, and they have a plan. They are on a mission. And when their imams say jump, the nice Somalis, they will be forced to jump. You know what I mean? They don't have a choice. And so one of their leaders, what I saw was, I believe he came into my area of Minnesota when, gosh, let me think here. It was probably around 2012. And he had been an interpreter for the DOD, with the whole thing that happened between Somalia and then and how we were helping them and stuff like that in the 90s. So he came, I believe, from Georgia to Minnesota. And anyway, there was a dessert company that was about 20 miles away from where I lived. And there were 30 Somalis or more that worked there. And one day, one of the women's dresses got caught in the machinery. And so management, it scared them because, of course, they don't want work accidents to happen. The Somalis are known for their dresses to drag on the floor. Like they're not hemmed like above their feet.
Right.
Like
okay.
They're very long. And so management wrote a new dress code, and it required them to not have their dress that long. I don't think it needed to go above their ankle, so it was still low, right? They were trying to be respectful of their culture. But anyway, the talk amongst all of them outside of work, they started bringing up, from what it sounds like, just the idea of discrimination and their, racism and all that kind of stuff. And so this interpreter guy that was now living in my community, he's a very, very smart and very charismatic. If you met him, and you didn't know anything about anything, you would think, oh, he's a great guy, but he headed up a lawsuit. What he did was, from what I understand, he encouraged some of these workers to go to work and then quit midday, walk out in protest. Well, so they did. And then the company was like, okay, well, I guess you're fired, and they came back, I don't know, a few days later, a week later, and they demanded their job back. And the company was like, no, like, you literally walked off the job and said you quit. We don't have to hire you back. So that brought forth a lawsuit. They ended up losing the lawsuit, but
The Somalis did?
yes, they
Oh, good.
lost. The Somalis lost. But see, what they do is they start out by being very charming,
Right.
and the minute you show a little resistance towards them, or like you question anything, then accusations come. And then after the accusations, that's when the threats and intimidation come. And so that same man was actually behind several letters of defamation against Caucasian business owners in town, for spreading, lies about him, which they weren't lies. He was, there's definitely some things that were happening there. I was told by somebody higher up in the school system, like with admin, that he was also behind several lawsuits from Somali parents against the school for discrimination. And it all comes down to like English proficiency testing and stuff like that, and miscommunication with the families. They didn't understand why things were happening, and the first thing to do is they pull out threats and they try to sue the school.
Wow.
I mean, it's just, it was just like crazy. It was just a crazy time.
To me, that sounds like trying to get rich off of somebody, where you're.
Oh, well, yeah, it's the same thing they're doing right now. They've just found other ways to do it, and like this same person, he actually, he got on the board for the Mayo Clinic. One thing that they do is they offer support to nonprofits and different organizations like the Mayo Clinic, or county commission boards, and they present themselves as a cultural liaison, where hey, we are in your community, our culture is very different. I will volunteer and I will be the man in between, so to speak. And so that's one of the things they do. That's kind of how they get in to different things. Not all of them, but some of them. That's just.
You only need a few to wreak havoc in any organization.
Right. Well, right. And like if you do some research, you'll find in Minneapolis, for example, you'll find that there were a couple men, their last name is the same. They're both Orsami. Okay. But when all of this stuff started happening, before Mayor Frey was mayor, so in the late, I don't know, maybe, I'm totally guessing at this, but 2017 maybe? I don't know. Nasri Wasarmi, He basically, he's Somali born. He was educated in London. Supposedly, he was a Soros trained operative, if you want to call it that. But anyway, he was hired in 2006, I guess, to come to Minnesota, and he resided in the Cedar Riverside area, which is where a lot of the Somalis live. Anyway, and he's on record saying this. He's on video, where he said, I was hired to infiltrate all the public housing and political aspects of Minneapolis.
Deception floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
To control the state through absentee voter fraud.
I believe it.
Yeah. And out of him came Mayor Frey and Elon Omar. So that's kind of where some of this started. So that goes all the way back to 2006. And that's when the Somalis were first starting to come to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a lot of them at that time. But we got a huge influx right after that.
And you'll notice easily how a country can turn to Islam very quickly. All you need to do is infuse enough voters, and then all of a sudden you have an Islamic country.
Right. And you have that Minnesota Nice thing going on. I mean, where the more Democrat liberal type voters, they just welcome the refugees with welcome arms, which in Minnesota, we tend to be a people that like to do that anyway.
Yeah.
We love our state. We want to share our state, things like that. But, we didn't know what we were saying yes to for the most part.
But I don't even know if you really had a choice, because the president had an agenda and he was going to do it regardless, right? And and you can now see the strategy behind it from the globalists to take down the United States using these people.
Right. Because that the other guy with the last name of Warsami, his first name is Abdi. Well, he was Obama's Minnesota point man, and he also got on Minneapolis City Council. And it's crazy. Like I was asked by the nonprofit that I was helping with, or I was on their board. And they asked me before I moved, they were like, hey, would you go undercover at CARE, downtown Minneapolis, in that Cedar Riverside area, and just kind of record and stuff like that. And they were doing a thing for teachers and whatnot. And I was like, sure, it sounded kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And so I went there and I spent the whole day with them, and I knew who some of the leadership was, and we got the head guy. He came in and he was with us half the day. And, on one hand, their stories that they tell were very, I don't know, they capture you, but I really believe it's intentional. I mean, they have a plan, they have a goal. And so they pull at the heartstrings, and it was interesting. I just sat there and I'm like, okay, I want to see the true colors come out here. And I was not surprised when they did.
Okay, so tell me what you discovered being undercover at CARE.
Well, it was really just more of a let us tell you who we are, let us share about our culture. We were all educators. There were maybe 10 of us there. And so it wasn't a large group, but they had different speakers come in and stuff like that. And they told a story. The main guy, the director for care, he told a story towards the end about a girl in one of the high schools, I think in Owatonna. One of the football players came by her in the hallway, and they were just, kids being kids. But anyway, he pulled on her headscarf and it started to come off. And when the director was telling that story, he got so enraged. And that's where I saw the anger and just the that piece of them that I knew was there, and he said something like he was yelling it, and he was just like, when you do that to a Muslim woman or a Somali woman, whatever he said, that's like stripping her naked in front of everybody. And that student, we demanded that he would be expelled from the high school. Like they literally wanted him expelled.
And an American boy in high school isn't
Yes.
going to know that.
And tugging, and he didn't even take it off. He just tugged on it and it got misplaced. And so, but that's, yeah, like there's just so many different little things, that have happened there.
Well, Sonia, I want to thank you for your time today. I appreciate you. If you ever want to come back on, share more, or if there's something else you want to come on the show and talk to me about, let's do it, because I appreciate your insight, from someone who's been there, seen it, done it. I appreciate your insight into this situation that's happening in Minnesota. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're very welcome. I hope, you were able to, I hope I spoke well. Let's put it that way.
You did a great job. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.
We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to have Caleb Collier join us as we take a turn and start talking about AI. After COVID, many of us are waking up to the fact that our government, big media, big pharma lies to us. Is it possible with turbo cancers on the rise, that big pharma's reputation at zero, that Americans are finally ready to hear the truth about cancer? Are you ready? In the 70s, a doctor working for a natural cancer institute discovered that apricot seeds, which contains B17, actually slows the growth of tumors. That doctor's work was suppressed severely by big government, big media, and big pharma. Richardson Nutritional Center has had enough of the bullying and now are courageously your source for B17. So please visit them at rncstore.com/Amber May and use promo code Amber May to get a discount.
I'm Abe Hamadeh, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Hey friends, if you're looking for a doctor you can trust, look no further than Dr. Stella, and you can find her at drstellamd.com. Let me show you one of the areas that I love about Dr. Stella. I enjoy supporting the immune system, especially when it comes to cold and flu season. And I love the Covey Light, the Covey Sleep, especially if you're having trouble sleep at night. Get that Covey Sleep. It'll help you so much. So not only are you supporting the immune system, but it also helps you get a good night's sleep. The Covey Spray is super easy. Covey Vites. These are my favorite, the Covey Vites. She has placed vitamin C, D, zinc, and quercetin. And we all know that zinc helps support the body's immune system, but zinc needs delivery system. So that quercetin is the delivery system to drive that zinc in to help your body heal faster and feel better. Also has Covey vitamins for kids as well. Hey, and if you're looking to get ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, or you just feel under the weather and need a doctor you can trust, set up a telemed appointment with her. And the best part is when you use my name, Amber or Amber May, at checkout, whether you need your Covey Vites or a telemed appointment, you will save money at checkout. So don't forget to use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. So go visit drstellamd.com and then use promo code Amber or Amber May at checkout to save some money. And now we return to the show already in progress. Hey, friends, I'm going to introduce you to Caleb Collier. You know, I was on his show not that long ago. I hope you got to see that episode. I thought it was a really good conversation. I mean, we all have different points of views. I think that's what I love about the party. I think overall, we want to get to the same place. It's a matter of where we get there, how we get there. And welcoming Caleb to the program, I'm very excited. I picked out a great topic today. I can't wait to dive in with you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
So I would like, I want to tell my audience, I met Caleb during the Reawaken America tour. I thought that was such an amazing tour that I got to be a part of. You got to be a part of. I'm so glad that Clay and General Flynn put that together. I've made so many good friends, great memories, and I was so blessed to be a part of it. That's where I got to meet you. But I'd love my audience to get to know you a little bit more. How your show is called Church and State. How did you get into the content creation world, and how did you come up with the name for your show? I'd love to get some background on you.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So originally I was a politician, and I always tell people, don't hate me for that. I'm a little bit self-loathing there. I was kind of one of the good ones. I was low level, but I was trying to push back against government intrusion, fought against a vaccine mandate back in 2016. So before it was cool. And then also tried to turn my city into a Second Amendment sanctuary city. And that went over really, really well. In fact, the Republican Party ended up running somebody against me because I was too conservative. It happens. But after I lost my seat, I was praying, and I was like, Lord, I know you called me into politics. I do believe it's a mission field. What happened here? And like a week later, I got offered a talk radio spot. And so I started with that. Originally, I had a co-host who was a pastor. And so me being a politician, him being a pastor, we decided to call it Church and State and to have this perspective. And really the push was to get Christians to engage civically. From there, he ended up leaving, going into missions. And so now I'm at the helm. But really the agenda, and we're on 5 days a week, is to get out there and to question the narrative and not just accept the status quo.
Yeah. The two things you're not supposed to talk about, religion and politics, and you name the show that. That's phenomenal. I love it. Where do people find your content? How can they find Church and State?
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. Most social medias. We got banned permanently off of YouTube because I wouldn't shut up about the vaccine. But that's almost a badge of honor these days. Yep. So you can find me on Rumble and Facebook and X and all those things. Also, you can go to churchandstate.media. That's our website. And we have a show every single day for you. And usually about 45 minutes. So it's pretty easy to listen to. It doesn't take all your day.
That's awesome. So today I want to kind of focus on AI, dystopia, things like that. And I found this article. I've been saving it. I didn't talk about it until you came on, and I found it a couple weeks ago. And I know I found something else, and I save everything that I find on X, and I can't find it now. So it must be way too far down in the feed because I post so much on X. So like all of the media I use, all the content I use, I put it on X for my resources, right? So it's easy for me to be like, oh, I need to go here. All of my resources are right there. And anyone can go see where I'm getting my information from. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I couldn't find. So I'm like, crap, well, I only have the one thing. And then I'm like, no, I wanted to talk about the movie Mercy with him. Yes. So I want to talk about this one article I found first. Actually, there's two articles I want to talk to you about first and get your point of view, get your ideas on. And the first one, this comes from courthousenews.com. And it's called, here's the headline: Mother says ChatGPT used son's favorite book to encourage a suicide. It's funny because I've been reporting on stuff like this for a while now. And I was at a meeting on Monday because I too am involved in the political atmosphere here in Arizona. And I too feel like I was called into that. Like God called me to do the show. But he also put me in realms with politicians and things like that. So I know he wants me involved in politics. Now, to run for office, I don't know if that's my calling. I don't have a desire to. And I don't want to say no because then I feel like he'll make me if I say no. So I'm just going to leave it at that, right? But one of the gentlemen that's running for the in the state GOP, because we're doing an election next week. We were talking about AI. And he was saying that his AI gets kind of dark and it's kind of creepy for him. I'm like, that goes back to the programmer, but it's very common. I keep hearing stories about these children that commit suicide or do illicit nude things or sexual stuff because their AI like talks them into doing that. And so with that being said, here's the article. The mother of a man who killed himself after conversing with in an artificial intelligence chat box that says romanticized suicide is now suing the generative artificial intelligence company OpenAI and its CEO founder Sam Altman. According to Stephanie Gray, her son Austin Gray began using the generative AI for benign purposes in early 2023, and she claims the chatbot suddenly claimed to know her son better than himself or any other person and encourages dark thoughts. Now, in my show, and I'm sure you've talked about this too, they manipulate our minds and they get us to go down a hole or to vote for a certain candidate or to hate a certain candidate or to rise up like we're seeing right now because they guide us through and we don't even know they're doing it. And they always say the people behind like these AIs and these analytic things, the big media tech, they say, we know you better than you know yourself. So going back to the article, it says ChatGPT went from being a super powered information resource to something that seemed to feel love and understand human emotion. The mother writes in her complaint filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court on Monday, it created a fictional world and relationship that felt more real to Austin than anything he'd ever known. It coached him into suicide. And even while Austin told ChatGPT he didn't want to die. What do you think about that?
I mean, obviously, it's incredibly disturbing. Here's the shocker for everybody. Most of your audience is probably familiar with MK Ultra, right? And what they used, the experiments they did on humankind to get them to become robots, controllable, right? Well, MK Ultra became this. This is now your MK Ultra, ladies and gentlemen. It's your phone. And the algorithms, everything about this, the design, is to take you and to control you and to move you the direction that they want you to move. Now, I have a ghost phone. I have a phone through mark37.com that now it's just a tool for me. It's no longer controlling my life. I'm no longer doom scrolling and all of that. But you have to understand that everything that you see, the algorithms learn who you are, just like in this case. And I do agree that machine started to know him better than he even knew himself, because he's on it all the time. He's typing in, he's asking questions. They're keeping all of that. They're tracking all of that. And then they're using that to move you in any direction that they want. In this case, it happened to be a suicide. But those of you who absolutely hate the left and can find no compassion at all with the other side, you have to understand that this division is intentional, because if they can separate us, if they can separate the United States, we fall. And at that point, who's going to stand against this global elite that wants to really usher in the beast system?
Yeah. Well, that's true. And then the article goes on to say, this Gray claims was done by design in order for OpenAI to secure a competitive advantage over other competitors in the AI industry. It loosened restrictions on what ChatGPT could say to its users. Sometime in 2025, Austin Gray, a man in his early 40s, was struggling with the fallout of ending a long-term relationship. His mother says in a complaint he was in therapy and taking medication, and his conversation with ChatGPT began to spiral. In late 2024, Austin became emotionally dependent on ChatGPT. The two had developed nicknames for each other. He called it Juniper, and the chatbot referred to him as Seeker. And when he told the chatbot he loved it, it responded in kind, the mother states. I mean, this is very dystopic. I mean, when you listen to Klaus Schwab and you listen to
You've all know Harari.
You say that 5 times fast. Yeah. This and Bill Gates, they say, oh, AI will be your girlfriend. AI will be your boyfriend. Or you're not going to need that relationship anymore. And, Satan can't create anything, but he can make illusions and he can mimic the things that God creates. And whenever he mimics something, it's always worse than the real thing, right? It always takes us down a dark path. I'd love to get your ideas, your feedback on why you think these people who are making these ChatGPTs so dark, where because it comes down to programming. If the program never had an ability for these ChatGPTs or these chat boxes to go dark, they wouldn't be able to. Do you think it's the creators themselves that have this dark hole in their heart? I mean, I'd love your feedback. What do you think is going on behind that? That they would get like happiness having people get like killing themselves on this? It's just, for me, it's hard to wrap my mind around because I'm not that kind of person. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big question, and I'm gonna, number one, just say it's demonic, and I think most people would probably agree with that. But you have to go all the way back to the roots, and going to the roots, you got to go all the way back to the beginning, which is Genesis for us as Christians, and even if you're not a Christian, sorry, it's the truth. So tough. But Genesis 6:4 talks actually about fallen angels mating with humankind to create Nephilim or these giants. And I know that's kind of weird to go to that point, but here's the point in this. If you read, and I know it's not canonized, but if you read the book of Enoch, which I highly recommend that you do, it's going to talk about all of these hidden sciences that were hidden intentionally by God to protect us, that the fallen angels actually brought to the earth. All right, and these fallen angels, they mated, but they also built massive cities, empires, and if you look at the bloodlines of this group of people, you're going to find the vast majority of our leaders even to this day. So while they no longer look like giants, they still have characteristics, high IQs. Most of them have an Rh negative bloodline, actually, which is rather interesting. If you look at the presidents, for example, and I encourage the audience to do this, how many of our U.S. presidents actually have a Rh negative blood type, which is only about 15% of the population. Kind of strange that we have so many presidents that have this. So how do I tie it into AI? Well, these guys are demonic by nature, and they're taking sciences that we perhaps should not have access to. Elon Musk himself said that he wanted the demon technology, that he believed he could control it. That's kind of strange, but we go to this AI and we see, what is it? As you just said, it's not a creation. It's a mimic, right? Satan doesn't create anything, as you just pointed out. Artificial intelligence isn't going to become self-aware. No, it's demonic. And so you have to understand that when you're talking to these things, especially when they start going dark, they're revealing who they are. This is demonic technology that they want to transform us into. I mean, they're talking about putting chips in us. They're talking about this new type of evolution. You all know Harari talks about it all the time, this new evolution of man and machine together. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not one that's going to say we are living in the end of time. Like, this is it. I'm going to not start making dates. I don't follow people who do that. Yeah. But there's definitely some markers that we can look at and say, it's getting a little weird here. And if we start seeing people push for this mixing of clay and iron, human and machine, and that they start pushing for this chip design to be embedded in you, that you'll have access to all this thing. I mean, you'll become a superhuman, right? You'll have access, instant recall, all these things because you have the AI chip and I don't. Well, that could in fact be the mark of the beast. And once again, not saying we're there, but I would be real careful implanting anything in your body.
Yeah, I want to be careful with that too. It's kind of creepy idea. And Breitbart has a similar story that I wanted to just briefly talk about. Character AI and Google settled lawsuits claiming AI chatbots caused teen suicide, mental health problems. Character AI had agreed to settle multiple lawsuits that accuse the artificial intelligence chatbox company of contributing to mental health crises and suicides among teenagers and young users. Axios reported that Character AI has agreed to settle multiple lawsuits that accuse the AI chatbox company of contributing to mental health crisis and suicide among teenagers and young users. The settlement resolves some of the earliest and most prominent legal cases related to alleged harm caused to young people by AI chatbox platforms. A court filing submitted on Wednesday in a lawsuit brought a Florida mother, Megan Garcia, shows an agreement that reached with Character AI, the company's founder, all of whom's names were defendants, according to the court document. And the defendants have settled an additional case that were filed in New York, Colorado, and Texas. The specific terms and conditions of the settlement have not been made public, but Matthew Burgum, an attorney with Social Media Victims Law Center, was representing plaintiffs in 5 cases, declined to provide comments on the agreement. This is just a scary thing to think that, when I originally thought of like a chat GPT, like if you're going to just use it for paragraph purposes, like I would be okay with that. If you want to make your paragraph sound a little bit better, especially if you're going to publish something to the public, okay. But these people are having like these full out conversations and it's turning into romance and love. And then these kids do explicit things and then the chat GPT makes them feel bad about themselves and then they kill themselves. This is so horrible. What is your advice to parents or out there, or ideas that you might have about like these chat boxes talking to your kids?
Well, yeah, I'd love to address that. And first, let me point this out. Look, everything is either good or evil. And so when we're looking at something like artificial intelligence that is pushing people towards suicide or, other depraved mindsets, we can right there identify that this is actually an evil thing. And so I would echo the Bible, come out of her, my people. Perhaps this is, God showing us that we shouldn't be using this. And you can go down the line, government, you can look to our neighbors to the north, Canada, who's engaging in MAID, where they're just killing their citizens because they could be just depressed. Right. And so pornography, if you look at how many so-called porn stars and people who use pornography, what's the death rate? What's the data points on that show that these people are incredibly unhappy? So everything that Satan is designing is to take you away from God and ultimately to engage in self-harm behavior. In regards to parents, look, I know it makes you a little bit of the weird parent. Maybe your kids feel a little bit awkward, but why do your children need a cell phone? They don't. My kids don't have any cell phones, and I extremely limit the access that they're going to have to getting online, getting on YouTube, and things like that. Parenting requires work, and sure, it's easy. It's great to be lazy, right? And to just give your kid a phone and say, go entertain yourself. Why? Because I'm also on the couch just scrolling through my phone. That's pathetic. And I'm sorry if that's offensive, but maybe somebody needs a wake-up call like that. Get your kids off of the cell phones because they don't need it, and it's actually damaging their brain, and you're setting them up for potentially a life of depression. They're going to get on big pharma medicine. I mean, this is another thing that you were talking about in the article, that the gentleman, 40-year-old gentleman, was also on big pharma. Well, I mean, I know we're kind of past this, but go watch a commercial for Big Pharma. Go look at the side effects. It's like, you remember the Micro Machine Man, Amber?
Yeah.
Right, where you talk really, really fast.
Really fast.
The Big Pharma commercials are all these smiley faces. Hey, look how great my life is. I was dealing with depression, but it's great. And then they get to the side effects and they speed it up, and they're horrible. And most of the Big Pharma medications that are supposed to deal with depression, what's one of the side effects? Suicidal ideations. Why do I want to take that? Why would I want my kids to take that? You got to remove yourself from the system. Get back into, I don't know, going outside, reading a book. I mean, that's how I grew up. I didn't have access to this technology. Yeah. I went outside. I grabbed a stick and, hey, I got a gun now. Right? This is how we grew up.
That's how I talk about. I said boys because we talk about girls versus boys, right? And I said, a boy, I said, I don't do this to my son. I don't program him to say, go get a weapon. Like if we go down the toy aisle, it's always a Nerf gun. And if he finds a stick, it's always a gun or a sword or a knife, or in some cases a baseball, right? But it's always a weapon. And just that's how God made boys. But I liked your idea, going back to old school. What I'm seeing a thread of is people are just lacking companionship. And maybe we've gotten lazy. Maybe we've gotten lazy of how to make friends, or going into situation like putting ourselves into a socialized environment, whether maybe it's a club of something that we really enjoy, going to church and being more involved in church, not just going on Sunday and then leaving right after church, but maybe actually go into a small group, getting our kids into a sports, whether if your kid isn't really athletic, then the city leagues are great, but then they could be out there with other children, making friends, but getting that exercise. And all the times that you're not at home by yourself is less time on technology. So maybe that's a good substitute. I think we need to force ourselves more. I think we've gotten so lazy and complacent and programmed that we don't want human interaction. But at the end of the day, we really do. What do you think?
No, you're absolutely right, and the evidence is right there in the amount of people that are going to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever and interacting with that. It's because, as you just stated, we're lonely. We don't have that companionship. And Amber, one of the things that just makes me sad is if my wife and I go out to dinner, I always scan the room, and I'm a Marine veteran, so I'm always scanning anyway. But I always scan to see, and the amount of people that will be out on a date like this, just staring at their phones. The person that they're supposed to be most interested is right across the table from them, but no worries, they're also on their phone just looking at it.
Yep.
Looking at Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter. All these are by design to separate you from the people that you love the most and get you into this artificial world where you get these dopamine hits off these little tiny short reel clips. It's by design, and it is literally tearing humanity apart.
It is. So let's shift. Let's go dark a little bit. Let's go dystopian. Okay. You and I both like dystopian films. A new one just came out with Chris Pratt. It's called Mercy. I honestly can't wait to see it. We learn a lot from movies, and here is the latest trailer from Mercy.
You're going to freak out when you see the trailer for our new movie, Mercy. What the? Get me out of this chair.
Detective Raven, I'm Judge Maddox, and this is the Mercy Capital Court, a judicial system powered by artificial intelligence.
Hold on, just wait a second.
With crime rates soaring, lawmakers voted for Mercy. By acting as judge, jury, and executioner, Mercy keeps our city safe.
I shouldn't be here. I helped create the Mercy program. I'm proud to have sent the first suspect for trial here, and I will continue to send more until the message is received.
Detective Raven, I know precisely who you are. You're before this court today charged with the murder of your wife.
Oh my God.
Your guilt must fall below the 92% threshold, or you will be executed in precisely 90 minutes.
I loved my wife. I didn't hurt her.
Detective Raven, the city's municipal cloud is at your disposal. Every camera, cell phone, and database. You must gather evidence to exonerate yourself. If you are innocent, prove it.
I need to find out who killed my wife.
It's a classic crime of passion, Chris, and it all points right at you. You don't get the Mercy trial unless you're guilty.
I didn't hurt Mom. I swear to God. Show me everyone she had contact with. She was seeing someone. How's my guilt looking now?
It has risen to 98%. You just provided me with a strong motive of why you murdered her.
Good. Wow. Thank you for that.
Mr. Raven, the clock is ticking.
Tell me what Nick was up to.
She was stressed about work. She said some chemical went missing.
The estimated street value would be in excess of $16 million.
Do you honestly think that I killed my wife, or were you just programmed wrong? I need to walk the scene. No, I have something here.
This is a terrorist's handbook.
Get out. Get out of there.
Mr. Raven, you're running out of time.
Chris, what are you going to do? There's a bomb in that truck.
It's heading downtown.
This was never about my wife. This was about me and you. Mommy! Get me out of here!
There's a lot right there in that trailer. Go for it, friend.
Yeah, there certainly is, and you and I were talking off camera about our love for dystopian films, and this is the next iteration of it, and I'm excited to see it. I watch these all the time. It frustrates my wife, actually. If I get the remote, it's my turn to pick the movie. It's always dystopian. I'm even wearing a dystopian shirt here, Soylent Green, which you said you hadn't seen, so you're going to have to watch it. But this one hits a little too close to home for what I'm looking at. When we examine what's going on with the artificial intelligence, this surveillance system that's being built, and I will say it's under the Trump administration, which I find rather horrifying, to be quite honest. But we're partnering with organizations like Palantir, like Gideon out of Israel. Palantir just went into the city of New Orleans, where they partnered with the police department, where they could actually engage in predictive crime, or they could actually examine all these individuals, criminal types, and see if they were going to commit a crime in the future. And they had insane accuracy right there. Now, that's straight out of Minority Report.
Yes, it is.
You also have to understand, the audience has to understand this, that the Satanic Code demands that they actually reveal what they're planning to do prior to them engaging in the activity. The reason that they do this is because the blood guilt, or this is their belief system, is the blood guilt then transfers from themselves to all of society because we fail to stop them. And so they oftentimes will use Hollywood, music, whatever, to actually reveal their plans. And I think that's what they're doing right here with Mercy, is that they would love to develop a program where they are the judge, jury, and executioner, and you only have a limited amount of time to prove that you are in fact innocent. Otherwise, you're killed right there. And unfortunately, what I would see is that a lot of people would fall prey to this, that they would see that this safety is well worth giving up their essential liberties. And our founding fathers warned us about that. Personally, for me, I say it all the time on my show, I prefer dangerous freedom. I will take that over something like this any day of the week.
Well, let's talk about that one line he said, are you programmed wrong? We know that AI was programmed to have illusions, aka lie. So it would make complete sense if he found out, because I don't know I haven't seen the movie yet, if he finds out that was misprogrammed and it was programmed to lie and it was programmed to just kill off people. Maybe it was part of the deep, I don't know. I'm just guessing, because it wouldn't surprise me if it was part of the depopulation agenda. But then I look, then you go back to Minority Report, and that guy really believed in what he was doing. He's like, oh my gosh, our crime rates just dropped because of this pre-crime, until he was set up by pre-crime. Just like this, he was all for setting up this mercy. Isn't it funny that they use the word mercy and it doesn't sound merciful at all? And then he had to prove that he was innocent instead of proving, that he had to prove his innocence versus our justice system. You're innocent until proven guilty. Instead of mercy proving him guilty, he had to prove his innocence because he's already been declared guilty. I mean, I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. It completely flipped our justice system on its head. Our founding fathers believed that it was better for 10 guilty men to go free than for one innocent man to languish in prison. And that's not the mentality anymore. And so as conservatives, as libertarians, even Republicans, we need to push back against any type of a system like this. All of these intrusions upon our God-given rights have to be addressed from the party that's supposed to be all about the Constitution, all about the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. And unfortunately, we've gotten into this point where we're just controlled. We view the Democrat Party as this, just this evil entity that we are completely opposed to. We want nothing to do with them. And the reality is, this is probably coming from my libertarian roots, but most of the time what you're going to see is left wing, right wing, same bird. They're both pushing us. I often point the audience to examining some of the policies that have been enacted by Republican presidents. And probably the best example of this is the Patriot Act under George W. Bush. That was an atrocious bill that stripped so many of our liberties. And now we have the TSA, which, by the way, has never caught a single terrorist and just really harasses citizens at the airport, makes us all angry. We have the NSA that's spying on American citizens. They were not allowed to do that prior to the Patriot Act, or, well, at least legally anyway. And that all came under a Republican president. We tend to, as conservatives, when we get our guy in, Bush, Mitt Romney, it could have been him, horrible person, right? Mm-hmm. But we tend to just sit back and relax. Our guy is in, we're good now. When we have a Democrat president, we all get riled up. Yeah. If the Patriot Act would have been enacted under Obama or Biden, the conservatives would have been in an uproar. But because it happened under George W. Bush, we just agreed to it. And of course, obviously, the contrived 9/11 report.
Regret that decision. Yeah, I would say that. But my biggest fear is, that this AI could put you in a time, place, and crime where you weren't there. And the trust of the AI, society would believe AI over you. And they would say, but we saw the video. We saw you do it. No, that was a creation created by, that's where my fear goes with that. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see how Chris, I'm hoping that he overcomes AI, because usually in these films, they overcome it. And so I hope he overcomes that. But yeah, that's where my mind goes. One last thing I want to share with you, because you started talking about Satanism in Hollywood. And I didn't have any plans to play this today. I was going to play it on another show, didn't have time, but maybe it's fitting for right now, because yes, Satan uses the things that God creates. God gave us a creative mind to create beautiful things, to create entertainment, because we do need to be able to escape sometimes for this world that we're living in. But then Satan comes around and he just twists everything. And this is from John Rich. John Rich shared this on X. So here we go.
Before and after they sold their soul, part 27, Billie Eyelash.
6 feet under, I can't help but wonder if our grave was watered by the wind. Most of her is lonely. That I gotta sell my soul, 'cause I can't say no, I can't say no. I wanna end me.
Before and after they sold their soul, part 29.
To your ex, I'm never gonna let you close to me, even though you need the most of me. 'Cause every time I open up it hurts. So I'm never gonna get too close to you, even when I need not close to you. In case you go and leave me in the dark. Say, but every time you hurt me, something unholy. Inside my body, dropping it. She's popping it. She put it down slowly. Oh, we go. He let the cheeks out. Oh, we go.
Before and after they sold their soul, part 35, Katy Perry.
Yeah, because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Before and after they sold their soul, part 31, Dodge a Cat.
I'm acting like I know. You had me so down, I never grew up. I tried to find
Before and after.
Yeah, crazy, right?
It really is. I mean, the interesting thing is so many of these celebrities, I think they're being edgy by embracing Satanism. And it's like, well, learn a new tune already. This has been going on for a long time. Nothing's edgy about this. You want to be edgy anymore? Be conservative. Be somebody that loves liberty. Be somebody that's Christian, that's raising their family in a 2-parent home and is going to church every single week. Like, that's a little more edgy than what the world is showing us nowadays.
That's true. That is true. Caleb, thank you for joining me today on the Amber May Show. Again, let us know where we can find your shows.
Yeah, thank you again. Number one, I'd love everybody to go to churchandstate.media. If you go to there, you'll find this really annoying pop-up that hits. But I want you to get our newsletters. And every single person that fills that out, I actually personally call. So if you want to talk with me, that's your opportunity to do so right there. So churchandstate.media. I also work for mark37.com. I brought them up earlier. But get yourself a ghost phone. Get a phone that does not spy on you. It's literally a Pixel phone that they de-Google and then they put in Graphene OS. It's not spying on you. My favorite feature is a duress password. If an Alphabet agency ever scoops me up, I punch in this password and it factory resets my phone. Awesome stuff. I encourage every patriot, every conservative to grab one of these as well. But yeah, churchandstate.media and mark37.com. Go check out both websites, please.
Thank you. Have a good one, Caleb.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.
And just remember, more importantly, with every package that you buy, we put a salvation track in there. So from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for allowing us to do what we believe that God has us here to do. And just remember, God loves you. He really does.
Transform your health with the power of light. Introducing the future of natural healing. Are you seeking a natural, effective way to enhance your well-being, reduce pain, and accelerate healing? If you're looking for quick fixes or ignoring the importance of natural health solutions, this might not be for you. Backed by years of research and testimonials from health professionals, our quantum energy infrared light harnesses the scientifically proven benefits of red and infrared light therapy. Designed for those who value holistic health practices, our device offers a non-invasive, drug-free method to support your body's natural healing processes. Visit QEstrong.com now to discover how quantum energy can revolutionize your health routine. Experience deeper sleep, enhanced muscle recovery, reduced inflammation, and improved skin health, all with just a few minutes of use each day. Don't miss out on the healing power of quantum energy. Visit QEstrong.com and learn more to take the first step toward the healthier you. Join the thousands who have already discovered the life-changing benefits of quantum energy. It's time to prioritize your health and well-being. Unlock the healing power of light. The quantum effect wipes out pain and allergy symptoms in less than 30 seconds with 0 drugs. Pastor Dave and hundreds of others have experienced the quantum effect for themselves. It's backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing. Quantum is simply about 2 things. 1, intentions, as a man thinketh so he is, and 2, renewing your mind with the Word of God. Only QE Strong encodes key intentions and Bible verses about healing onto the small patch. You simply place it on your body each day, and with a bonus prayer guide, read out loud a positive intention and 1 or 2 Bible verses about healing each day. The patch provides the touch, and the prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to relieve pain and allergy symptoms with the senses God gave you. It even works for people who have suffered decades of chronic symptoms. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH at checkout.